Let's discuss about kingdom Protista. First of all, we need to look at learning outcome. At the end of this lesson, students should be able to state the unique characteristic of Protista, state the classification of Protista based on a unique feature. Number 1, two major phyla of algae, phylum Chlorophyta and phylum Phaeophyta. Number 2, four major phyla of protozoa, phylum Euglenophyta, phylum Rhizopoda, phylum Coleophora, and phylum Apicomplexa. Now we look at unique characteristics. Number 1, eukaryotes mean that they have true nucleus and membrane-enclosed organelles. Number 2, mostly unicellular and some multicellular. Number 3, some photoautotroph means that they can undergo photosynthesis. And some of them are heterotroph, means some of them cannot produce their own food, but they need to feed on organic matter produced by or available in other organisms. Number 4, most of which are motile, so they can use flagella or cilia. Number 5, mostly are free-living. Free-living means an organism that is not directly dependent on another organism for survival. Number 6, reproduction by sexual and asexual. Sexual, they can use gamete, and asexual, they do not use gamete. 7, they live in water or very damp surface. Classification of kingdom Protista. First, two major phyla of algae. These algae we classify based on photosynthetic pigment, means they can produce their own food by photosynthesis. First is phylum Chlorophyta. The example is Chlamydomonas species. Number 2 is phylum Phaeophyta. Example is Fucus species. Next is four major phyla of protozoa. We classify based on their locomotion. First is phylum Euglenophyta. Example is Euglena species. These Euglena species are using flagella for their locomotion. Number 2 is Rhizopoda. Example is Amoeba species. They use pseudopods for their locomotion. Number 3 is Coleophora. Paramecium species is the example of phylum Coleophora. Paramecium species using cilia for their locomotion. And last is phylum Apicomplexa. Example is Plasmodium species. This Plasmodium species is non-motile. Two major phyla of algae. This is the example of Chlamydomonas species. They also known as green algae. They have flagella, cell wall, nucleus, chloroplast, and starch granule. Their phylum is Chlorophyta. This is the Fucus species, also known as brown algae. Their phylum are phylum Phaeophyta. Four major phyla of protozoa. Number 1 is phylum Euglenoophyta. This is the example of Euglena species. They have flagella. Phylum Celiophora, which is Paramecium species. They have cilia used for their locomotion. Number 3, phylum Rhizopoda. This is the example of Amoeba species. They use pseudopods for their locomotion. And last, phylum Apicomplexa. This is the structure of Plasmodium species. They are non-motile. This is a Euglena species. They have nucleus and also have membrane-bound organelles, which are mitochondria and chloroplasts. They also have flagellum for locomotion. Phylum Rhizopoda. This is the example of amoeba species. They have nucleus. They have membrane-bound organelle, which is mitochondria. They have contractile vacuole, food vacuole, cytoplasm, and plasma membrane. This is the example of Paramecium species. They have cilia using for their locomotion. They have two types of nucleus, which are macronucleus and micronucleus. They have food vacuole and contractile vacuole. Phylum Apicomplexa. This is the example of Plasmodium species. Plasmodium species is non-motile. They have nucleus, they have mitochondria, and this Plasmodium can cause malaria disease. That's all for Kingdom Protista. Thank you.